Oh my God, this is happening. Welcome everyone. First of all, welcome to Copenhagen and welcome to the NEEDS conference. I don't need to convince you people that disasters in general and disaster research in particular are entirely crucial to the world we're living in.
There's a lot of need in terms of a lot of more emphasis on bringing together different scholars and the kind of work they're doing together, especially with what's going on in Paris at the moment with all the climate negotiations. I think there's important need for the climate people and the disaster people to come together and take this ahead.
I think the biggest issue in disaster research is gendered expectations of people. So in the everyday there are expectations of men to protect and provide, and for women it's to put their own needs last. And what happens in a disaster is those expectations are multiplied several times over.
Awareness of what we're doing, so actually disseminating the research to the people that should hear about it most, decision makers, also the people affected by disasters.
I think there are two things I can mention. One is that we have to acknowledge the capacity of local communities. That's, I think, one need. And another thing, opportunity is the use of information and communication technology.
The biggest need of disaster research today is interdisciplinarity and further work between academics and practitioners.
Well, I think the first need is to start concentrating on disaster risk and not on disaster. That is, the things that are on the ground which will guarantee that disaster occurs at some time.
I think the main challenge is to get different disciplines working together. Disasters don't just happen out of the blue, they happen because of the interaction of all these different forces, and we need a more integrated form of science and social science to deal with these.
I think the biggest need for this area of research is that we kind of continue to work interdisciplinary and to truly create interdisciplinary environments where we meet on a daily basis.
I think the biggest need is just for a lot of the research that's being talked about here to just be talked about more widely and to kind of get to people making the decisions about risks and about creating risks. And I think, you know, for instance, the climate negotiators in Paris would probably be having a very different sort of conversation.
Integrating practitioners and academics even more. We have a lot of good things going right now in that direction, but facilitating more conversation and more meetings like at the conference here between practitioners, reflected practitioners and practical academics.
I think right now probably the really pressing concern is the social construction of risk. Our development processes today are driving the construction of risk. And so what we need to do in terms of disaster research, for me, my priority is basically to understand what we call the root causes.
For me, the biggest question is the question of disaster justice. That means how to allocate the burdens of disaster prevention, disaster mitigation, and also compensation between the citizens, the victims, the state, and the corporate world.